From the smoldering trenches of the Great War to the hyperlethal digital battlefields of today, German armor has defined destruction. This is the complete, terrifying evolution of the Panzer. The A7V was the iron-moving fortress. This massive, boxy behemoth acted as a mobile bunker, carrying 18 men into the meat grinder of the Western Front. Only 20 were built, leaving a legacy of raw, unrefined power. The K-Wagen was the land-bound dreadnought. It was a super-heavy breakthrough monster designed to crush everything in its path, weighing a staggering 120 tons. It was a terrifying vision of total war that never reached the battlefield. The LKI and II were the scuttling shadows. These light cavalry tanks were Germany's attempt to match the speed of British whippets using a car-based chassis. They were the agile ancestors of the future Blitzkrieg doctrine. The Sturmpanzerwagen Oberschlesien was the trench breaker. It featured a revolutionary central turret design and rear-mounted engine, a layout far ahead of its time. It remained a blueprint of what could have been as the war ended. The light tractor was the secret seedling. Developed in cooperation with the Soviet Union to bypass treaty restrictions, it was disguised as an agricultural tractor. This tractor was actually the clandestine classroom for Germany's future tank commanders. The Großtraktor was the heavy deception. Like its smaller brother, this medium tank was tested in secret to refine multi-turret combat theories. It served as a vital mechanical stepping stone, proving that heavy armor needed simpler, more reliable designs. The Neubaufahrzeug was the triple-headed Hydra. With 3 turrets bristling with guns, it looked like a terrifying titan of the future. While too complex for mass production, it was a masterclass in psychological warfare and early propaganda. The Panzer I was the iron puppy. Originally intended only for training, this light, twin machine gun tank led the charge into Poland and France. It was the nimble spark that ignited the fires of the Blitzkrieg. The Panzer II was the Blitzkrieg vanguard. Armed with a 20 autocannon, it provided the punch the Panzer I lacked during the early invasions. It was a high-speed harasser that kept Allied infantry pinned while the heavies moved up. The Panzer 35T was the Czech prize. Captured during the occupation of Czechoslovakia, this robust machine filled a massive gap in Germany's armored divisions. It was a reliable veteran that helped crush French resistance in 1940. The Durchbruchswagen was the prototype sledgehammer. These heavy experimental vehicles were designed to smash through the Maginot Line's fortifications. Though they never saw combat, their DNA would eventually lead to the creation of the legendary Tiger. The Panzer III was the anti-tank surgeon. Designed specifically to fight other tanks, its 3-man turret layout allowed the commander to focus entirely on the battle. It was the sharpest blade in the Wehrmacht's arsenal for years. The Panzer IV was the everlasting shield. As the only German tank produced throughout the entire war, it evolved from an infantry support vehicle into a deadly long-range tank killer. It was the backbone of the Reich. The Panzer 38T was the mechanical perfectionist. Known for its incredible reliability and ease of maintenance, it was beloved by its crews. Even after its chassis became obsolete as a tank, it lived on as a tank destroyer. The Panzerjäger I was the glass sniper. By mounting a lethal 47 Czech gun on a Panzer I chassis, Germany created its first self-propelled anti-tank gun. It was a fragile but deadly stopgap against heavy Allied armor. The Sturmgeschütz III was the low-profile assassin. Lacking a turret, this assault gun was cheap to build and easy to hide. It eventually became Germany's most produced armored fighting vehicle, claiming more tank kills than any other. The Marder series was the scavenged executioner. Built on obsolete light tank chassis, these Martins carried high-velocity guns capable of knocking out Soviet T-34s from a distance. They were the desperate, lethal improvisations of the Eastern Front. The Nashorn was the horned giant. It carried the legendary 88 gun on a specialized chassis, capable of sniping enemy tanks from over 2 kilometers away. It was a thin-skinned killer that traded protection for absolute lethality. The Jag Panzer IV was the gully lurker. Its incredibly low silhouette made it nearly invisible in defensive positions. It was the ultimate ambush predator, designed to sit and wait for Allied armor to cross its sights. The Panther was the apex predator, combining thick-sloped armor, high speed, and a terrifyingly accurate 75 gun. It was arguably the best tank of World War II. It was a technical marvel that haunted Allied tankers' nightmares. The Sturmgeschütz IV was the resilient bastion. Created by putting the successful WWII superstructure on a Panzer IV chassis, it provided much-needed anti-tank support as the Reich transitioned to a defensive war. It was a rock in the surf. The Jag Panther was the silent executioner. It combined the Panther's mobility with the massive 88 gun of the Tiger II. Many historians consider it the finest tank destroyer ever built, a perfect blend of power and protection. The Jag Tiger was the immovable mountain. At 71 tons, it was the heaviest armored vehicle to see service. Its 128 gun could vaporize any tank in existence, but its massive weight led to frequent mechanical breakdowns. The Tiger II was the king of the battlefield. This King Tiger was an armored fortress that forced the Allies to change their entire strategy. While nearly invincible from the front, its thirst for fuel was its ultimate downfall. The Maus was the extinction event. Weighing 188 tons, it was a literal land battleship that defied the laws of logistics. Only 2 prototypes were ever built, standing as a monument to the Reich's obsession with super-heavy wonder weapons. The E-100 was the last stand Sentinel. Designed to be a more practical super-heavy tank than the Maus, it featured a simplified chassis and massive protection. Only one hull was partially completed before British forces captured the factory. The Canonenjig Panzer was the Cold War ghost. This fast, turretless tank destroyer utilized high mobility and a low profile to counter Soviet swarms. It was a modern reimagining of the Stu-G concept, built for the nuclear battlefield. The Leopard 1 was the Steel Greyhound. Shunning heavy armor for extreme speed and firepower, it was built on the philosophy that the best defense is not being hit. It became the standard for European armored forces. The Leopard 2 prototypes were the evolutionary missing link. These testbeds experimented with futuristic armor and massive 120 smoothbore guns. They refined the technology that would soon create the world's most dominant main battle tank. The Leopard 2A4 was the NATO shield. With its iconic flat-faced turret and laser-accurate fire control, it was the gold standard of the late Cold War. It remains in service globally today as a testament to German engineering. The Leopard 2A5 was the pointed spear. It introduced the famous wedge-shaped armor on the turret, designed to deflect incoming kinetic rounds. It transformed the Leopard from a formidable tank into an impenetrable fortress. The Leopard 2A6 was the long-range executioner. It featured the upgraded L55 gun, providing significantly higher muzzle velocity and penetration. It was built to outrange and outgun anything the East could throw at it. The Leopard 2A7 was the urban warrior. Optimized for both conventional warfare and low-intensity conflict, it features improved 360-degree protection and advanced auxiliary power units. It is the peak of the Leopard 2 lineage. The KF-51 Panther is the digital dominator. Armed with a massive 130 gun and integrated drone launchers, it is a leap into the future of armored warfare. It is designed to dominate the data-driven battlefields of tomorrow. The Leopard 2A8 is the invincible Sentinel. Equipped with the Trophy Active Protection System, it can intercept incoming missiles before they even touch the hull. It is the most advanced, battle-ready tank on the planet right now. German armor has evolved from the iron boxes of 1918 to the digital predators of today. The legacy of the Panzer continues, defining the future of land warfare. Subscribe for more military history.